All right, so we're diving into tax deductions, specifically for independent contractors. And we've got this super informative article breaking down common deductions for 2024. But you know us, we're not just going to like skim the surface here. This deep dive is all about uncovering those deductions that can potentially save you some serious cash and really understanding how to use them strategically. But quick disclaimer before we get started, we are not tax professionals. So while we'll be covering all those key details, definitely make sure you consult with an expert for personalized advice.
Yes, that's key. Taxes are complex and everyone's situation is unique.
Exactly. So let's kick things off with the fundamentals. What's the deal with deductions? Why are they such a big deal?
Think of deductions as discounts on your taxable income, not a direct refund, but a way to shrink the amount the IRS can claim. It's like getting a percentage off your entire grocery bill,
Yeah.
rather than one free item.
So we're not talking about freebies here, but we are talking about keeping more of our hard-earned money. Now, I imagine the IRS isn't just letting us deduct anything. What are the rules of the game?
The IRS has this mantra: ordinary and necessary. It has to be a legitimate expense, directly related to your business. So that new espresso machine for your home office, maybe not. But essential tools and software, absolutely.
Okay, so ordinary and necessary, that's the name of the game. Got it. And I'm guessing we need proof, right? I can't just say, I spent money on things for my business
Yeah.
and call it a day.
You're absolutely right. This is where meticulous record keeping comes in. Think receipts, invoices, mileage logs, the whole shebang. Solid bookkeeping is your best friend when it comes to tax time, and it could even save you from potential headaches down the road.
All right, so let's dive into some of these deductions. The home office deduction is one I'm really curious about. What exactly does that entail?
This one's a game changer for those working from home. Essentially, you can deduct a portion of your housing costs, things like rent or mortgage interest, utilities, even home insurance.
Hold on. So I can deduct my Netflix subscription because I watch it in my home office. Right, just kidding. I know there are limitations.
Exactly. That's where the exclusive use rule comes in. The space you're claiming must be primarily used for business. So that corner of your dining room table, that doubles as your workspace. Probably not going to cut it, but a dedicated room used solely for business. That's a different story.
So let's say my office is 15% of my total home space. Can I deduct 15% of those eligible housing costs?
You got it. And it's not just about the big ticket items like rent or mortgage interest. You can also deduct a percentage of your utilities, like electricity and heating.
Okay, that's actually pretty amazing. Now let's talk about expenses that are probably relevant to most independent contractors. I'm talking about things like cell phone and internet bills. Can we deduct those too?
Absolutely. You can deduct the portion used for business. Think about it. You're likely on calls with clients using data for work-related tasks. It's a legitimate business expense.
So how granular do we need to get here? Are we talking tracking every minute of a call or every website visit?
While being precise is always good, a reasonable estimate usually works. Let's say you use your phone for business 60% of the time. You can deduct 60% of your bill. Just have a justification for that estimate in case of an audit.
Okay, that seems manageable. Now, health insurance. We're on our own for that as independent contractors. Can we deduct those premiums?
Good news. You absolutely can. And not just for yourself. This deduction covers your spouse, children, or dependents under 26. It can even include dental and long-term care premiums.
That's a huge relief. What about other types of insurance, like business liability insurance or even car insurance, if we use our vehicles for work?
Those are deductible as well. Think of it this way. Any insurance that's necessary to protect your business and its operations is a legitimate expense in the eyes of the IRS.
I see a pattern emerging here. If it's crucial for my business, it's likely deductible. Now, I want to talk travel. I travel a fair amount for work, meeting clients, attending conferences. What can I deduct here?
This is where it gets interesting. Plane tickets, train fares, taxis, ride shares, even tolls and parking. And if you're staying overnight, hotel costs are deductible too.
So that client meeting in a tropical paradise, ISS, a business expense. Just kidding. But seriously, are there limitations on what I can deduct?
The key is reasonableness. You don't have to pick the absolute cheapest option. But extravagance can be a red flag for the IRS. For example, flying first class. When economy is reasonable for the trip, that might raise some eyebrows.
No private jet deductions. Got it.
Exactly. Remember, ordinary and necessary is the rule. A private jet for a short flight, probably not going to fly. But that comfortable business class seat, For a long-haul international flight, that might be justifiable.
That makes sense. What about meals? Can I deduct those fancy client dinners?
You can actually deduct 50% of the cost of meals directly related to your business.
Huh.
Client meetings, business conferences, even catering for promotional events.
So that client lunch, IS a business expense, but maybe skip the 5-course tasting menu.
Exactly. Keep it reasonable and directly related to your business.
Now let's talk about getting the word out there. Can I deduct advertising costs?
Absolutely. This is a big one. Online ads, print advertising, even TV or radio commercials, if you're working with a PR agency. Those fees are deductible too.
So my Instagram influencer marketing campaign is a business expense. I knew there was a good reason for those sponsored posts.
As long as it's a legitimate campaign directly aimed at promoting your business. It likely is. But remember, keep those receipts and invoices. Documentation is key.
Duly noted. Now about our vehicles. A lot of us use our cars for work. Can we deduct those expenses?
You bet. The IRS offers two methods: the standard mileage rate and actual expenses.
Break that down for me. What's the difference?
The standard mileage rate is a set amount per mile driven for business. For 2024, it's 67 cents per mile. It's simpler if you're not tracking every gas receipt and repair bill.
So I just need to track my mileage. Seems easy enough. What about actual expenses?
With actual expenses, you deduct a percentage of your car's operating costs based on how much you use it for business. Gas, repairs, insurance, even depreciation. This can be more beneficial if you have a pricey car or high operating costs, but requires more detailed record keeping.
I can see how tracking mileage can get quite detailed.
You're right. It's not just about the total miles driven. You need to record the date, purpose of the trip, and the exact mileage. Think of it as a little travel journal for your car.
Okay, I'm definitely getting the message. Detailed record keeping is essential.
You got it. The IRS loves documentation. It's your best defense when it comes to justifying those deductions.
Now let's talk financing. As independent contractors, we often rely on loans to fund our businesses. Can we deduct the interest on those loans?
Absolutely. Interest on business loans, including credit cards, equipment loans, and lines of credit, is deductible. This can be significant, especially in the early stages when you might carry more debt.
So those business credit card interest charges aren't completely a burden.
Exactly. But remember, deductions don't magically erase your debt. It's always best to prioritize paying it off.
Right. Deductions are helpful tools, but they're not an excuse to stay in debt longer than needed. So what about professional development? Can we deduct expenses related to education and training in our fields?
You bet. Any education that directly enhances your skills and knowledge in your current field is deductible. Courses, conferences, workshops, even online programs.
So that online coding bootcamp I've been eyeing, IS a legitimate business expense.
As long as it's directly related to your current business and not for a completely new career path, you can likely deduct it.
This is fantastic news for lifelong learners like myself.
It is. Investing in your knowledge is essential, and the IRS recognizes that.
This is making me feel like a tax deduction pro. What other deductions should we be aware of?
There are definitely more deductions to uncover. Don't forget about retirement contributions. As independent contractors, we don't have those employer-sponsored 401ks, but we can still benefit, right?
That's a great point. I've always wondered about that. What are our options when it comes to retirement planning and deductions?
Even though you're running the show solo, you can still get some tax breaks when it comes to retirement savings. Options like SEP IRAs and solo 401k let you make tax-deductible contributions.
So I can stash away cash for my golden years? And if you reduce my tax bill at the same time, that's a win-win.
Exactly. It's like giving your future self a high five while saving money today.
I love that. Okay, now let's talk about some of those less obvious deductions. I'm always looking for those hidden gems.
One that often gets overlooked is professional dues and subscriptions. If you're part of a professional organization or subscribe to trade publications that are relevant to your industry, those costs are deductible.
Wait, so my subscription to that niche industry magazine is actually a business expense?
As long as it keeps you in the loop and helps you stay competitive in your field, it's a legitimate deduction.
Okay, I'm starting to feel like a detective uncovering hidden treasure. What about those initial costs of setting up my business? Can I deduct those?
You are in luck. The IRS allows you to deduct certain startup costs, like market research, legal fees, and even those filing fees for setting up your business structure.
So those long nights I pulled creating my business plan were actually tax deductible. I knew it.
Well, maybe not the sleepless nights themselves, but the actual costs associated with getting your business off the ground are definitely deductible. It's like the IRS recognizing your investment in launching your venture.
Okay, this is getting really interesting. Now let's talk about the tools of the trade. I've invested in some pretty specialized equipment for my business. Can I deduct the cost of those items?
You absolutely can, but it's not a simple one-time deduction. You'll need to depreciate the cost of your equipment over its useful life.
Depreciation. That sounds a bit complicated.
It's not as intimidating as it sounds. Think of it as gradually deducting the cost of your equipment over time, reflecting its wear and tear. The IRS has specific rules for calculating this, but the idea is you can't deduct the whole cost in the year you buy it.
So let's say I buy a high-end 3D printer for my business. I can't just deduct the entire cost up front.
Right. You'll need to spread that deduction over the printer's estimated lifespan. Let's say the IRS estimates its useful life to be 5 years. You then deduct a portion of the cost each year for those 5 years.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like acknowledging that the equipment loses value as it gets older.
Exactly. Depreciation helps you accurately represent the true cost of using that equipment for your business each year. It also helps you avoid a massive expense in one year and spread it out for a better tax strategy. There are actually different depreciation methods, and some might be more beneficial to your situation than others.
Wow, this is getting pretty nuanced. Maybe this is where a tax professional could really come in handy.
Absolutely. A good tax pro can help you navigate these complexities and make sure you're using the best strategy for your specific situation.
I'm with you on that. It sounds like having an expert in your corner could be a lifesaver, especially with these more complex deductions.
For sure. Now let's talk about some other less common but potentially valuable deductions. One is for business licenses and taxes.
Wait, I can deduct taxes I've paid for my business?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I'm about to unlock a secret level in a video game.
It's true. If your business requires specific licenses or permits, or if you're subject to industry-specific taxes, those costs are deductible.
This is incredible. Are there any other hidden gems that we should know about?
Absolutely. Another one that is often overlooked, legal and accounting fees. If you've hired a lawyer or accountant to help with your business, those expenses are deductible as well.
So my consultations with my business lawyer are tax deductible. This is getting better and better.
It's all about understanding the real costs of running your business and making sure you're claiming every deduction you're entitled to.
I'm feeling much more empowered already. Knowing about all these potential deductions makes me feel like I have more control over my finances.
That's exactly the feeling we want you to have. Taxes don't have to be a source of stress. With the right knowledge and strategies, you can actually use them to save money and invest in your business's future.
I love that perspective. But if I'm being honest, the whole record-keeping thing still makes me a bit nervous. I'm not exactly known for my organizational skills.
I hear you. Keeping track of all those receipts and invoices can be a bit daunting, but it's crucial for claiming your deductions and staying on the IRS's good side.
So what's the best way to stay organized? Do I need to hire a personal assistant just to manage my receipts?
A personal assistant is always an option, but there are more practical solutions. These days, we have amazing bookkeeping software options designed for small businesses and independent contractors.
Okay, that sounds promising. Tell me more about these magical software solutions.
These platforms can automate a lot of those tedious bookkeeping tasks, like tracking your expenses, categorizing transactions, and generating reports. Some even connect directly with your bank accounts and credit cards for seamless tracking.
So no more shoeboxes stuffed with crumpled receipts.
Exactly. Digital bookkeeping makes it so much easier to stay organized, generate accurate reports, and prepare for tax season.
Okay, I'm adding Find bookkeeping software to my to-do list right now.
That's a great first step. The key is to stay proactive and organized throughout the year. Don't wait until the last minute when tax season hits.
Solid advice. I'm already feeling more confident about tackling my taxes. So with all these deductions we've covered, what's the most important thing our listeners should take away from this deep dive?
It's true, knowledge really is power when it comes to taxes. The more you understand, the better you'll be to maximize those deductions and keep more of your hard-earned money.
Absolutely. You've definitely armed us with a wealth of information. But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to the importance of record keeping. It seems like that's the foundation of everything we've talked about today.
Absolutely. Meticulous record keeping is non-negotiable. It's your best defense if the IRS ever comes knocking. Remember, they want to see that your expenses are ordinary and necessary for your business, and your records are the proof.
So how can we make sure our records are squeaky clean and ready for anything?
First and foremost, separate your business and personal finances. This makes it so much easier to track your income and expenses accurately. Consider setting up separate bank accounts and credit cards specifically for your business.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like creating clear boundaries between my entrepreneurial world and my personal life.
Exactly. And when it comes to receipts, stay organized. Whether you prefer digital or paper-based systems, find a method that works for you and be consistent. Categorize your expenses and make sure everything is clearly labeled and easy to find.
No more shoving receipts into random drawers and hoping for the best.
Definitely not. The key is to have a system that lets you quickly and efficiently find any document your future self will thank you when tax season rolls around.
Okay, I'm making a commitment to get organized right now. No more receipt chaos. You mentioned bookkeeping software earlier. Could that be a good solution for someone like me who isn't naturally organized?
Absolutely. There are some fantastic bookkeeping software options out there specifically designed for small businesses and independent contractors. They can automate so many tasks like tracking expenses, categorizing transactions, and even generating reports. Some even integrate with your bank accounts and credit cards for even more streamlined tracking.
That sounds like a game changer.
It really can be. And remember, staying proactive and organized throughout the year is crucial. Don't wait till the last minute to scramble for receipts and try to make sense of your finances.
That's some solid advice.
Yeah.
I'm feeling so much more confident about handling my taxes now. As we wrap up this deep dive, what's the most important message you want to leave our listeners with?
I think it's this. As an independent contractor, you have a unique opportunity to use tax deductions to your advantage. But it takes knowledge, strategy, and meticulous organization. And never be afraid to reach out to a tax professional, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed or unsure about certain deductions.
That's a great reminder. Sometimes investing in expert advice is the smartest move we can make for our businesses.
Exactly. And remember, tax laws can change, so staying informed is crucial.
You've given us so much to think about. Now that we know about all these deductions, it makes you wonder how we can strategically plan expenses to really maximize our savings. Something to ponder, right?
Absolutely. Think strategically, stay organized, and never underestimate the power of a well-planned deduction.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us. Remember, keep those receipts organized. It's not just about taxes. It's about empowering your financial future.